All right, continuing on from the last video. These two wires here on the power amplifier are coming in right here from the plug. All right, and these two wires here are on this orange plug right here. And those are the two vertical Jones plug connections that are toward the middle of the radio. So, what do those do? Well, this one goes into a 7808 regulator immediately. So that power, that just says power. Powers that regulator. So that you can throw 13 volts in there. So then this one is that TX voltage that if that's missing or gone, the unit won't transmit. So we can follow up those and see where they go. Okay, so this is powering this whole logic chain here. So you can see where this voltage is powering all this. Goes into that collector and that PNP. What's that thing doing? It's doing what? So when it fires, it's going to make this positive, I think. That's a PNP. That goes negative, this goes positive. So what's it gonna do? Why does it care about that? That would cause this thing to pull down. Okay, that says 13.5 volts. Does that, I'm not quite sure why this circuit's here really, this part, yet. Any rate, and they got some logic here. Okay, fan circuitry, fan temperature, not sure. Any rate, so I'm kind of thinking out loud here. So anyway, this TX 13.5 volts goes here, and then it goes down here. And it comes, okay, TX 13.5 goes here. Yeah, and then they have a jumper that cascades over here. And that proceeds to the low pass filter board. And there's a relay there, and then the relay, basically this is a relay winding right here. And this comes back and becomes 13.8 volts, which doesn't make much sense to me why they do that. So that's my tour of the circuitry. I know this hasn't been very good. I don't understand the circuit completely yet on why they're doing stuff like this, but all I know is you got to have this stuff powered up for transmitting. It's not going to go without it. So case in point, here's the receiver running here. And radio is still powered up. That light is still on, which is irritating. I want to get that off. So if I hit the MOX button here, you can see that I'm transmitting, so that's working. So I guess I have a partial understanding of it now. And again, I have this wire powered, this wire powered, this wire powered. So this wire is high current for the PA, and that's the horizontal pin here. These two are just simply attached to here for power for TX and for power for that 7808 regulator or 7508 regulator. So that's as far as I've gotten. I've gotten this radio to go. I got to figure out now how to get that light to go with the MOX button. It used to work that way. I now think it's just me not understanding how to wire this thing right. So transmitting, and if I up the drive, of course, I'll overcurrent my power supply, but The radio is working again. There was nothing really wrong with it. I just didn't understand how to connect the power connector. I must have had it jumbled up where it worked before, and I thought I understood it. I initially had those two crossed. So they have a schematic also of the power supply itself in here. I'm thinking, where is that? Is that this thing? I ran across the power supply itself. Okay, here's a low pass board, and you'll see that this TX 13.5 comes in and goes out, and it simply goes through this little relay and goes back out. That's all it does. Does it go anywhere else? No. Does this go anywhere else? No. It simply goes to the relay. Well, this one goes somewhere else. It goes down to here. Did I get that right? Probably didn't get it right. So this comes down to here and goes way down here and looks like it's power for all the relays there. Yeah, so that's the power source for all the relays, and then they're grounded all through here. So that's how that works for the antenna relays. So this TX 13.5 volts will engage all those relays. And I thought it engaged this little guy, but it doesn't. So that's what that does. Okay, and I wanted to look at the power supply real quick. I know I've seen it here somewhere. Yeah, let's see if it's in the beginning. Okay, FT-757GX power supply. This is indeed the power supply. So if you look at the connector, okay, there's the output. Output connector and output plus minus. That must be on the back of the power supply. And this stuff here, okay, so here they have pins 1 and 2. Let's see, what pins are those? AC jack, power switch. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. They simply have 1 and 2 connected together. And that's what I was doing initially, and that worked initially. So I had these two connected together, which would be these two, and the plus and minus, and it worked. So I'm not sure why now I have to apply power to these. Looks like they just jumped these together in the power supply. So that's a mystery of why I got to do that. And so that pretty much says go back to the complicated schematic. So something I must have fried something here. It doesn't have to work like that. I do have it transmitting again, but it's not working right. So if we go back to the finals here, the power amplifier 100-watt board. Which I guess is the very end. Okay, there's that board. So what does that circuit really do? Okay, so here's pins 1 and 2 from the power supply right there. Pins 1 and 2, and they're jumping these together. So how is this getting power if they're jumped together? Okay, so that means that TX has to have power from somewhere. So this pin 1 is feeding pin 2, which feeds this regulator. So TX 13.5 volts has to get power from somewhere. And would this feed it? Okay, PNP, yeah, so the power is flowing this way. It's going in the emitter, out the collector, open collector. And where does this wire go? Who feeds this wire? It's saying 13 point something volts, but who's giving it power? From where does the power come? And it doesn't have to be high current. So I wonder if this, since the power comes into this board, I'm not sure. I am not sure why this would work like this. So this has to be energized. And then power feeds off of that. How do we energize it? Something switch. What's this saying here? TX 13.5 volts. Something, what's it say? Okay, same thing. TX 13.5 volts. And TX 13.5 volts. So if we look at the big diagram, then again, where does TX 13.5 volts go? Okay, TX 13.5 volts be a unit. TX 13.5 volts. TX 13.5. Okay, it's not called TX 13.5, it's called power and 13.5. But here it's called power. Power switch. Anyway, 13.5 volts there, it's called. Okay, now it's called TX 13.5 there, and here it's called TX 13.5 volts. So where does that go? All the way there and goes into the local unit. Like, so what does that do with it? I don't think the local unit gives it any power at all, but who knows? TX 13.5, well, it might. So where does 13.5 come in the local unit? Does it come from a main power source? 13.5, if I can get a fix on this wire. Okay, there's that, 13.5 volts. I don't know, I need more research. I hope this gave you an idea of how to debug this transmitter with a no transmit problem and debug it with the transmit light on constantly. I guess from what I've told you, you could get yours to transmit, but mine's not transmitting correctly. I guess all that would happen was the light's jammed on and it might draw more current, but I really want to fix it correctly. So I guess I'm going to spend some more time researching it, and if I figure it out, I'll post the answer. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.